Hey everybody, this is Craig from 9 Volt Games, and today I'm going to do a review for DuckTales. Woo! My voice is cracked, I think. Yeah, DuckTales Remastered. God damn it. I'm so unprepared for this. Anyways, DuckTales Remastered. I got the PS3 version. It's downloadable on pretty much everything. I ended up buying a solid copy, but it's not my game. DuckTales Remastered is actually my son's first game. He picked it out. He got it. Now, we have played, well, I played with him DuckTales on the NES multiple times. So I figured when he had that and he was mumbling that that would probably be the best option to get. Now, I saw this game in its promotional stages at PAX last year, and I actually wasn't frightened. Remakes are scary, guys. Listen, they are petrifying. We all know this. Whenever someone says that something's being remade, the first thing we want to know is who's doing it. Way Forward did DuckTales Remastered, and the reason I wasn't so worried about it is that Way Forward has done, I'll go into this, Way Forward has done Double Dragon Neon, which is from our childhood, well, people who are my age, from your childhood, and they redid Boy and His Blob, both of which were fantastic. They even made Blood Rain enjoyable, and Blood Rain, the first Blood Rain, really sucked. Her. No, it was terrible. Blood Rain Betrayal was great. So these guys have a pretty good track record. They do a lot of kind of, crappier games. Well, to me, crappier games. But, children's games, your Justice Leagues and your Looney Tunes and crap on handhelds. So the fact that they got their hands on this classic, I can't do much of my surround sound because my son took surround sound remote with him. But anyways, there's one good thing about this game. And I feel like when the reviews came out, I don't fucking like Metacritic. I think you guys know that. I don't like it. But I occasionally still go. I wish I could turn it on sound. Hold on. I occasionally still go on Metacritic to feel what the temperature's like. Usually if it's a game that I'm going to review, I like to go and see what the temperature's like, what I'm going to be combating. Because most people do look on Metacritic and weigh their decisions on that. So usually, and I find that most games I like are like a 60s. This game got in the 80s the last time that I checked when it was new, and I didn't buy this game when it was new. I'm a little late to the party on this. I feel like if I still gave scores, this game would get a perfect score. And that's simply because DuckTales was a huge piece of my childhood. I was born in the 80s. DuckTales, the game, was a giant part of my upbringing with video games. It's one of the first games that I can remember playing, being coherent enough to actually advance into the game. And DuckTales Remastered, even though I didn't buy it right when it came out last year, I got it now because my son wanted it. So it's like I'm taking one of the games that I can first remember playing and I can now share it with my son. And I feel like if every reviewer had that same thing, this game would have got perfect scores all over the place. Not only that, it is a very faithful remake to the original game. And if I had some kind of modified controller that can control a Nintendo controller and PlayStation 3 controller at the same time, I would play them side by side. Well, it's not exactly the way that the old one was. It's set up enough where you're just like, oh great, go to the moon, blah, 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 blah. The game is fairly quick. And it might just be because I play DuckTales a lot on NES. Even today, I still play DuckTales a lot on the NES. But I've beaten the game, and as you can see, it's only 2 hours and 3 minutes, and that's including the time that I just fuck around on the level when my son wants to see it being played. Realistically, the game only took me about an hour and 20 minutes to beat. Now, let's go back. The controls are real tight, pogoing. And it's a hard game to sell to people who haven't played the original because who wants to play as one children's TV show character of a greedy ass old man bouncing around in his cane like a pogo stick? It's actually a really solid platformer and it's fun to boot. Now, if you are going to buy this game and you haven't played it yet, or you're scared that they might have fucked up the original, enjoyment of the game, rest assured they haven't. The game is perfect the way that you remember it. It's just as good. The only couple issues I had where I was swearing a lot, because it's not that hard of a game, was points with collision detection. I don't know if it's because it's tighter than the NES version, but there are certain parts where, like, when you're fighting the final boss, I won't say who it is for those of you who have no idea who the final boss would be. Um, there's one point where there's bats and you have to stand between the bats, and I was there perfectly and I still got hit, but whatever. Just little things. I mean, still beat the game with the breeze, never got a game over or any of that stuff. And DuckTales has one of the greatest soundtracks, and I think it's mainly because DuckTales came out in an era where Mega Man was the shit. And DuckTales, the original one, came out from Capcom. And it was kind of like playing a Mega Man DuckTales where you just didn't gain power-ups. You only had one means of destroying an enemy. And it was fun. And in this version, when you get Gizmo Duck, oh my god, guys. It's epic. It's on the moon. Obviously, the moon is one of my favorite... I don't think I've ever said this. The moon is one of my favorite 8-bit songs ever. And I'm going to just play a little bit of that level. I'm not afraid of giving much away in here. Once you beat the game, well, let me show you something that I always wanted to do that you can now do in this game. Come on. Come on. You can do this, guys. Yes, you can swim around the money. That's exciting to me. I will also note that my son is almost 2 years old, and he won't sit down for much. He likes the concept of grabbing a controller, sitting on the couch for all of maybe 5 seconds, and then moving on to the next thing. Unless you put on Sonic, and he'll watch you play like 2 levels where he holds a controller. Then I think he starts to realize that he's not controlling it. He's pissed. He will sit there and watch you play this. He wants you to play this. And I think it's because he looks at Scrooge McDuck and all the other ducks and he thinks they're Donald Duck. But, nah. Anyways, when you beat the game, you go to the computer and it gives you everything that you've played. And as you know, if you played the Nintendo one, that's all that's available. But we'll do the moon. Just because I like the moon, I like the music of the moon, and I'm very glad they didn't change it so much. And they kept like the essence of what made the song great. And I'll just show you what the gameplay is like, because it's very simple. And there's cutscenes. All done by the original voices. Scrooge McDuck, the dude who does Scrooge McDuck's like fucking 94 years old, by the way. Big props to him for, you know, being able to do this. I'm gonna skip all these cinematics. If you want to play the game, you can watch them yourself. Like I said, this game's downloadable for like everything, but I implore you to buy a solid copy for 20 bucks. Just buy a solid copy, because it's a classic game, and if you're my age, wouldn't you rather have a solid copy, especially if you're a collector? And make sure you have the original too. If you are a collector, you need to have the original. Skip. Oh, come on. They kept a lot of the sounds the same. Skip that part. So this is clearly we get Gizmo Duck. You have to find the pieces and put it together. But basically seeing that pogo around, jumping, climbing, that's pretty much all you gotta do. You get one where you can, you know, use this cane as a golf club and you hit things out of the way, but that's pretty much it. And it's a good platformer and it's not super challenging. Like you saw, I beat it in 2 hours and that's all my collective playtime. But I think even if you haven't played the original, you're still going to beat the game in about 3 hours. There's a lot to unlock in terms of, you know, buying stuff out of the gallery, your sketches, your TV show sketches, all the music, blah, blah, blah. It'll probably take a good 3 playthroughs to buy everything. But past that, I mean, the whole point of the game, and when we saw it at PAX, what I've come to understand, this is not, you know, something to try and bring back an old Disney property that nobody really cares about anymore. It was purely fan service by Capcom. As much as Capcom likes to milk the shit out of their things a lot, Street Fighter, Resident Evil, they are pretty much the ultimate company when it comes to fan service, you know, aside from like Valve. Um, this is proof because it's not sitting there trying to put something new in your face, telling you, "Oh my God, you know, you just beat the game. Watch the new episodes and blah blah blah." It is purely made for my generation of people, and I really do think deep down it's made for my generation of people to share with their kids because most people my age, you know, are starting their families and having kids now. So it's a great game. Please don't download it if you can just go out and buy a solid copy of it. You can find them cheaper online than you can in the stores, and what's the point? I mean, you got a Wii U that's collecting dust. It's on the Wii U. Come on, guys, give this game a shot. I mean, this is the second day in a row that I made a video, and it's the second day in a row, and I'm going to tell you, buy this game. Buy this game. It's magic. And if you missed it on Nintendo, buy both. Because as far as I know, the original game actually is not in here, which is kind of like a missed opportunity, but nothing will beat playing it on a actual Nintendo pad. Thank you guys for watching.